Coons. He's a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, one of the committees investigating Russia's election meddling. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning, Allison.
So, listen, the way this meeting has been described has been the gamut from nothing burger, which we hear on the right, to approaching treason, which we've heard on the left. So how do you categorize it?
Well, I think it's important that we all take a deep breath, continue our investigations, make sure we get the facts straight, and understand this in the broader legal context. This is a striking development in that Donald Trump Jr. Received emails in which he was proffered, he was told he might receive directly from a Russian government attorney, that's at least what the email said, information from a hostile power, Russia, that was seeking to help his father win the presidential election about his father's campaign opponent. Just on the face of it, that forces aside all the things that have been said by Trump campaign officials and the White House, that there was no interaction with Russians that was inappropriate, there was no attempt at collusion. This lays all that bare because his enthusiasm for this meeting and his lack of surprise to get an email saying that the Russian government was trying to help his dad win the election are both pretty striking. I think what needs to happen next is that Bob Mueller, who's conducting an independent investigation, should pursue these leads appropriately, and then, as much as we can without causing any interference with Bob Mueller's investigation, both Senate Judiciary and Senate Intelligence Committees, who have good bipartisan ongoing investigations, should get to the bottom of this as quickly as we can.
Well, Senator, you're playing it safer than Senator Tim Kaine is. Let me play for you how he categorized this. Listen to this.
This question of collusion, which essentially starts to transition this into potentially a treason investigation. When he was approached with this idea, he should have turned it over to law enforcement immediately.
Is Senator Tim Kaine going too far with bringing up treason?
Well, Tim Kaine's absolutely right that what Donald Trump Jr. should have done is hand this over to law enforcement. He tries to throw this off, Donald Trump Jr., as just opposition research, as the sort of thing that is routine in a campaign. Anybody who comes with damaging information about your opponent, you meet with them. But this is of a different kind.
But is it
an
treason?
Email that says a hostile power wants to share information is exactly the sort of thing that should have been turned over to the FBI.
Sure, but what about categorizing it as approaching treason?
Well, colluding with a foreign power, partnering with Russia to try and influence our presidential election certainly raises questions, not just about whether this was ethical, it clearly wasn't, but whether or not it breaks those constitutional boundaries that prevent American citizens from helping a hostile power. I'm not there yet, but I think that's exactly why we need to have an investigation to more thoroughly understand the details of what happened and why. I don't disagree with Tim Kaine that that's one of the questions on all of our minds, but as a lawyer, I'm going to be careful about saying that I clearly see the elements of that charge.
Are you calling on Don Jr. to testify in front of your committee?
Yes, he should provide sworn testimony both to the ongoing investigation led by Bob Mueller and to the two Senate committees. And again, I do think it's important we keep coordinating between those investigations to make sure that we don't repeat the mistake that happened in Iran-Contra, where the two investigations get crosswise with each other.
But have you reached out to Don Jr. to say, we'd like you to come in?
That's not my role. That's something that the chairman of the committee, Chuck Grassley, and the ranking member, Dianne Feinstein, I believe will do. If they haven't already done it, I expect they'll do it imminently. They've already sent out letters asking that emails and other relevant materials be frozen, that nothing be destroyed. And it's my expectation that'll move forward quickly.
Okay, let's talk about what else is happening today in front of your committee, and that is the FBI nominee, the director, the nominee for director, Chris Wray, is going to be coming in. What questions do you have for Chris Wray?
Well, the FBI director is one of the most important federal law enforcement positions, and this would be an important confirmation hearing in any context. But at a time when the most recent FBI director was abruptly fired, and the Judiciary Committee is beginning an obstruction of justice investigation over how and why the past FBI director was fired, we're going to have some critical questions for Chris Wray. I intend to ask him first whether he believes the intelligence community's assessment that Russia interfered inappropriately with our last election and intends to continue doing so, because I'll remind you the FBI has a critical counterintelligence role. And then I'll ask him whether he can be counted on to be independent of President Trump. And let's be clear, given recent allegations by former FBI Director Comey, he's going to have to be willing and able to stand up to an overreaching president. And last, I'm concerned that Attorney General Jeff Sessions isn't honoring his promise of recusal, his commitment to step aside from ongoing investigations related to the last election. So those are three of the things I'm going to focus on today.
Okay, Senator Chris Coons, thanks so much for previewing it with us. Great to have you on
Thank you,
here
Allison.
today. Chris.
All right, the legal issues here are still very